I'm Dr. James Beverly, optometrist. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, most of y'all know. Have an optometry practice here in Macon, Midtown Vision Center, and Goggles Eye Care for Kids. And about 11 years ago, I got elected to be a state representative for then District 139. Over the course of several years, redistricting happened. I became the representative for District 143. And within that space, I started realizing, quite frankly, there's a lot of work to be done in District 143. The Middle Georgia area has some of the highest poverty areas in Bibb County. It's not just education that has run amok in some areas 10, 12 years ago, but more importantly, people just didn't have any jobs. And so what I wanted to do with the time that I had as a state representative is to figure out how can we use the government to be intentional about helping our people out. And so I created the Macon-Bibb Community Enhancement Authority, whose sole responsibility is to shrink Category 4 poverty areas by any means necessary. That means getting grants, getting funding, doing whatever it needs to do to be intentional about removing the obstructions that poverty causes in the lives of people in which I serve. And we did that.
My name is Tandra Houston. I'm currently the Executive Director of Macon-Bibb County Community Enhancement Authority. I started this role in January of 2019 with managing the mitigation project with Georgia Department of Transportation in the Pleasant Hill community, as well as managing Little Register House and the Jefferson Lawn Linear Parks through a partnership with the City of Macon, as well as Booker T. Washington Community Center. Currently, we're working on finalizing the 17 new homes that we're building in Pleasant Hill and looking as we start to expand our programming in other parts of Macon-Bibb. Our mission in the Community Enhancement Authority is to eradicate blight and poverty in Category 4 poverty level areas in Macon-Bibb County.
My name is Robert Banks. I'm the administrator here at the wonderful Little Register House Resource Center, and I handle all of the day-to-day operations as well as any events that we have, and I give all of the fabulous tours to the people that come to see Little Register House each and every day. We have been here in this location now for about 7 years, and we have seen so many wonderful faces and so many wonderful people over these past 7 years. And so this is the actual home that he lived in when he was a child. Him and his 12 other siblings stayed in this two-home shack, as they call it, or a shotgun house is what others would call it. Yes, these are the actual floors that Little Richard walked on, as well as the actual ceilings as well. And I tell people all the time, it reminds me of my grandmother's house with the oldness of the architecture and the way that they built the home. It's over 100 years old and still standing to this day.
My name is Antonio Williams. I'm a lifelong resident of Pleasant Hill. And my relationship with the CEA, it started basically with their inception, because their work kind of centered around a work in Pleasant Hill and people's effort to try to revitalize the neighborhood. And so our relationship is kind of twofold, because we are in the trenches together, trying to do the business of bringing Pleasant Hill back. And also I have a business relationship where they contract a lot of their landscaping services through my company. And so it's just been a win-win relationship.
Well, my name is Keisha Stafford. I am with Stafford Builders. We are a local contractor here located on Napier Avenue. Our interaction with CEA has been that as a general contractor, we've been afforded the opportunity to team with them to build some of the homes in this area. As a general contractor, that means that we had the opportunity to actually select local builders to participate with us on providing single-family housing in this area. I recently was appointed president about 2 years ago. I am the first female president there, so girl power. I am that person.
What I wish everybody knew about the Community Enhancement Authority in Pleasant Hill is that, first of all, Pleasant Hill is a great place to live, and it's only going to get better. It is absolutely positively going to get better. The Community Enhancement Authority is that where we are with the Community Enhancement Authority, the reason I created it is we got to end poverty, right? It has to end, and why don't we do it here in Bibb County?
So my incentive came from just kind of undoing some of the stuff, we did with that misguided representation. You know what I'm saying? And represent, in a different way. Yeah.
When I saw the things that they weren't getting here, something as simple as a sidewalk, something as simple as lights, something as simple as getting your street clean, it made me just really want to see what we could do to make that happen.
The government has been intentional about writing us out of the equation. We need to be intentional about writing us back in.
I have family members and people that have been working in this neighborhood for years. And so I've been a helper and a worker in Pleasant Hill for probably about 12 years now. With my start being helping out children at L.H. Williams with learning about reading and literature and math and helping them to be able to be successful during the summertime, to now being a part of the Little Richard House and helping from that standpoint. And so I wanted to be in Pleasant Hill because I love giving back. I love history, and I just love people, and I love being able to provide people with things that they may not have had.
You may not know this, but I grew up here in Pleasant Hill. Yes. My aunt actually stayed in the housing area right off Monroe Street, and so I'm very familiar with this community. In addition, Booker T. Washington Community Center was very prominent for myself, my siblings, and my cousin. That's where we had lunch at. That's where we had our summer moments. And so this is a community that, I remember it during a very prominent time. And do know that to look around, I know that the opportunity and the potential for it to stand and really show its glory and the beauty of it again. And so to be involved right now is something that I guess you could say the passion comes out because it's very personal for me.
Whether you're from here or whether you just got here a few years ago or a few months ago, they really have a love and respect for the culture and the history of what created this area. And just experiencing that on a day-to-day basis, no matter what other issues are may happen, which happens everywhere, just being able to see that one-on-one, walking down the street, being able to speak to neighbors, going to community meetings, and engaging with people and connecting them to key partners in the city so they can get things done in their neighborhood has been really special to me.
I made it my mission to be the answer. Not to shoo people away, but be the answer to the question of how do you do this? How do you do that? I need help with my computer. I need help with trying to get online. Even our seniors, being able to say, hey, if you need a place to come in, check your email, check your Facebook, send messages, do whatever you need to do. I'm here to help you to be able to be that answer, that solution, versus being the person that says, well, you can go down the street, you can go here and there. No, you can come here.
The CEA has had an impact on this community, and I would say from the standpoint where I know when we talk about intervening with youth, we always talk about meeting them where they are to establish whatever rapport. I think that's kind of symbolic of what the CEA represents, because it kind of met the community where it was from a standpoint of the interaction that it's had, the services that it provided, from just your basic resources to people trying to transition, into home ownership, and even supporting the entrepreneur.
Now, I stand on the shoulders of some giants. One is Mr. Peter Gibbons. He was the one who helped me to understand the mitigation process that Pleasant Hill was going through, and that how they ran the highway through Pleasant Hill in the 60s and 70s, and how they left the community decimated. And part of I-75 coming through Pleasant Hill is there was a directive from the federal government to run highways through predominantly black neighborhoods, and that's what Pleasant Hill was a part of. And the highway came through and they decimated Pleasant Hill, separated it, put it on two sides, ran through the graveyard, the cemetery, and just, for lack of a better term, just intentionally divested from Pleasant Hill. And now was a chance for them to make it right. But if they wanted to come back through this community, they had to do it the right way. And Mr. Givens and Miss Naomi, God rest her soul, helped me to understand that through a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort to understand where we were. And so we leaned into that moment, and this is what we have today. But it is all because of 20, 30 years of black folk in Pleasant Hill saying to the government, no more. If you're gonna come through again, you gotta make us whole. And so this is a culmination of standing on a bunch of people's shoulders. I just happen to be a guy who's willing to lean into it and happen to be, in this moment, this time, the guy that pull it off. But it's because of everybody who came before me.
I wish people knew that there is a work being done. Because a lot of people wonder, well, what are they doing? It just seems like they just got stuff just to have it, or whatever the case may be, and not realizing that there is a lot of work being done in these communities, specifically the Pleasant Hill community. And so I think it's a misconception of, what are they doing? All the thing I see them doing is a festival here, or an event here, or a trunk or treat, or whatever the case may be, but they're not understanding just how much is being done. Like, there are brand new houses being built in Pleasant Hill so that we can provide homes for people that would like to live in a wonderful neighborhood. There is legislation being written for this neighborhood to receive funds to do things, as well as there is a lot of documentaries and things being done about this neighborhood to bring more insight into just what this is. And so I think if people could actually see the work being done, they will change their minds and be like, you know what? They are working hard, and try to find ways to help in the work.
I think one of the things that is misunderstood or stereotyped when it comes to CEA, the Pleasant Hill area, is that no one cares. And that is so far from the truth. I have seen our pride and joy, which are our elders, and I've seen our youthful people come out and actually be a part of everything that is going on in this neighborhood, whether it is picking up garbage off streets, whether it is cutting yards or houses that have been abandoned, whether it is really just helping some of our elders to maintain what they have, painting, putting up new siding. It's those type of things that I think people tend to not know about this community, that this community truly is one that can thrive given the resources.
What is our next focus with Community Enhancement Authority? And just talking to our great board of directors as we're trying to kind of look at how can we help in other communities. Our next plan is to continue to work in Pleasant Hill, because we could never leave this area. This is our beginning and our foundational support area, but we want to be able to start going into other communities that fit in that category 4 or 5 level area umbrella, and start engaging them in programming, help them with their community organization, and just start strengthening those areas.
One question is, where do we go from here? And I would answer it like this. In Bibb County, you have 14 category 4 poverty areas throughout Bibb County. So although Pleasant Hill is one of these category 4 poverty areas, there's 12, 13 left. That's where the CA is going. And so what you'll wind up seeing is down on Houston Avenue, right? When you see some parts of East Macon and West Macon, South Bibb, that's where the CA needs to work. And so what we need to do as a community is to invest in the Community Enhancement Authority. The words are important. Community Enhancement Authority. We need to invest in that Community Enhancement Authority. Give the resources that you need to the authority so it can do the work of the people who are in these category 4 poverty areas. That's where we need to head. And so I would ask anybody who's listening to me today, is please lean into what the CA is doing and ask yourself, how can I help them do more? Because I know you can do it.